Living in Santa Clarita means your roof takes a daily beating. Relentless UV exposure bakes sealants and underlayment year after year, leaving the system brittle. Then, sudden high winds violently snap the weakened tiles. When that happens, the clock starts ticking. A single lifted shingle or cracked concrete tile instantly exposes the vulnerable underlayment to the elements. You have days, sometimes hours, before moisture finds its way to your roof deck. You need to stop the water right now. But you live in a planned community in Valencia or Saugus. Your HOA demands strict architectural conformity, and their rules clearly state you cannot touch that roof without formal written pre-approval. This risk matrix shows your trade-off. On the bottom axis, speed of action. On the side, type of risk. Acting too fast lands in the bottom right, triggering steep fines. Waiting pushes you into the top left, allowing catastrophic water damage. You cannot win in those red zones. To get your roof fixed safely, you have to stop asking the architectural committee for permission and start presenting them with undeniable, documented proof. When your application gets stalled, it feels like the HOA management company is intentionally trying to block you from protecting your own home. But the truth is much simpler. Architectural committees rarely object to a legitimate roof repair. They hit the pause button because your application created bureaucratic uncertainty. If your paperwork lacks a specific color code, if the contractor's insurance certificate is missing, or if your scope of work just vaguely says "fix roof," the reviewer cannot confirm that your repair aligns with the neighborhood standards, so they delay it. We are going to map out exactly how to bypass that bottleneck. Your approach will come down to one of two highly specific strategies, depending entirely on whether your roof is actively leaking right now or if it is just physically damaged. The entire HOA approval system is driven by a fear of undocumented aesthetic changes. Frame your repair to eliminate that fear, and you get approved on the first try. The longest delays usually start before the HOA even reads the details. They start with the terminology you use on page 1 of your application form. Homeowners naturally use broad terms like roof project or roof replacement. When the management company sees those words, they immediately classify your request as an exterior modification. That drops your application into the slowest, most highly scrutinized review pile they have. You need to use specific legal phrasing instead. Call your project a like-for-like limited repair. This language signals routine maintenance, keeping your request out of the dreaded exterior modification pile. This matters because under California Civil Code Section 4765, when you properly define a maintenance request, the association is legally required to use a review procedure that is fair, reasonable, and expeditious. This decision tree maps your next steps. Your current roof condition branches into two responses: preventative maintenance or emergency mitigation. Defining either path as a like-for-like limited repair ensures the project stays within the expedited review category. Let's focus on the preventative track first. You have slipped concrete tiles, a cracked pipe boot, or missing composition shingles, but your ceiling is dry. There is no active water intrusion yet. Your primary goal here is to protect your property and maintain your home's curb appeal without getting trapped in a months-long cycle of HOA rejections and follow-up emails. To do that, you must submit a comprehensive pre-work packet that leaves the architectural committee with absolutely zero follow-up questions. Include exact manufacturer specifications, verified product color names, photos of specific roof planes, and the contractor's liability insurance. There is a clear trade-off to this approach. Gathering and verifying all these documents takes significant upfront coordination, which delays the actual start date of the physical repair. However, by front-loading the bureaucratic work, you give the reviewer everything they need to say yes immediately, achieving the fastest possible permanent approval.
For preventative issues, doing the administrative heavy lifting before the contractor ever unpacks a ladder is the only reliable way to guarantee your repair isn't stalled by a missing piece of paper. Now we shift to the emergency track. Water is actively coming through your ceiling during a severe storm. Waiting 30 days for a standard architectural review is not an option. Doing so guarantees severe water damage, black mold, and rotting drywall. To survive this without facing HOA penalties, you must make a critical strategic pivot. You have to legally separate your project into two phases: temporary mitigation and permanent repair. First, get a contractor out immediately to apply temporary tarping or containment. Second, send a written, time-stamped notice to the HOA management company explaining exactly what you are doing. That notice must separate the actions. Bullet 1, temporary leak mitigation installed today to prevent interior damage. Bullet 2, permanent repair scheduled pending architectural review. The trade-off for this emergency track is cost, because your roofer has to come out to mitigate the leak, leave, and then return weeks later. You are paying for the contractor to mobilize twice. But the output is exactly what you need. You stop the active water damage immediately, while remaining compliant with your community's long-term architectural guidelines. In a storm crisis, clearly defining your first action as temporary mitigation acts as your legal shield. It lets you stop the bleeding without triggering an HOA war. Regardless of whether you are on the preventative or emergency track, you still have to clear the final, most common hurdle: matching the materials on a 15 to 20-year-old Santa Clarita home. We call this the material match mandate. HOAs will rigidly enforce visual uniformity. They will almost never accept cheap, readily available, close-enough tiles picked up from a local big-box hardware store. The complication here is UV fading. Even if you locate the exact original tile profile from the original manufacturer, a brand new tile is going to look glaringly bright next to a roof field that has baked in the California sun for 2 decades. You have to source the closest available manufacturer match through specialized roofing suppliers. If the original profile is entirely discontinued, you must secure written proof from the manufacturer stating exactly that. This layout shows exactly how to present your evidence so the committee cannot argue. Show the weathered original tile next to the proposed replacement sample, explicitly tied to a manufacturer specification sheet verifying it. Perfect material documentation removes emotion from the review. It transforms your repair request from a subjective debate about neighborhood aesthetics into an objective, undeniable fact. The fastest path through a strict homeowners association isn't sneaking around their rules or performing unpermitted work. It is overwhelming the architectural committee with a flawless, pre-built evidence package. This checklist is your bulletproof HOA packet. You need the official form, scope of work separating temporary from permanent repair, match photos, contractor insurance, and a cleanup plan. For active leaks, tarp it today. For preventative maintenance, wait for approval. But let's be realistic. Tracking down discontinued tile profiles, aligning with Santa Clarita fire codes, and navigating 50-page HOA guideline documents is a full-time job. That is why local expertise matters. Roof Repair Santa Clarita specializes in this exact environment. They handle the physical restoration while simultaneously providing the documentation, photos, and manufacturer specs your specific HOA committee requires to sign off. You shouldn't have to fight a bureaucracy while worrying about water damage. Click the link in the description to secure your inspection with Roof Repair Santa Clarita. Get your bulletproof packet built and get your roof fixed the right way.